At dawn, the savanna awoke under the golden sun. A man and a woman ranger set out for a long patrol. Their mission was clear: to protect wildlife, help animals, and endure. The vehicle rolled across the red dirt road, leaving a trail behind. The only sounds were the birds chirping and the wheels spinning. The woman scribbled notes in her journal, while the man kept his hand on the tranquilizer gun. Days of patrolling had drained them, but they pushed forward. The endless savanna stretched before them, promising new challenges. They knew the dangers, but their eyes burned with duty and purpose. Suddenly, in the distance, they noticed something strange: 2 lions standing still. They were positioned by a lone tree, seemingly waiting. The lions' stillness was unsettling, and something felt wrong. The woman immediately sensed danger. These lions weren't acting like territorial predators. Their movements were filled with urgency and fear. The lions began pacing, growling in distress. The woman's frown deepened. Something wasn't right. The male lion let out deep growls, more in frustration than aggression. The lions weren't defending their territory, they were trying to communicate. Ethan understood that they weren't here to fight. Instead, they were asking for help. Ethan's heart raced as the lions continued their frantic movements. It was clear they were desperate, their roars full of pleading. The male lion stood his ground, growling, while the lioness circled. They were in a state of panic, not at all typical for wild animals. Ethan carefully studied their behavior, trying to make sense of it. He knew these creatures were in great distress. It was risky to follow them, yet something in their behavior made him trust them. Ethan cautiously started the engine and began to follow the lions. He had no idea what he was about to face. The lions led him straight to the edge of a deep pit. There, trapped in thick, muddy water, was a lion cub, struggling to stay afloat. Its weak cries were now barely audible, its body sinking slowly. The woman immediately got out, grabbing a wooden plank from the vehicle. She carefully placed it over the unstable mud. The man prepared to assist, both knowing they had little time. The pit was deep, and the mud was thick, almost pulling them in. Ethan had to be careful with every move to avoid sinking. This wasn't just a physical challenge, it was a race against time. The lioness and the male lion stood at the edge of the pit, watching. Their roars were a mix of fear and impatience. Ethan could feel their desperate hope that he could save their cub. The tension was unbearable, the weight of the moment pressing down on him. Ethan carefully placed his weight on the plank, inching closer. His movements were slow, deliberate, and full of focus. The mud was too deep to stand in, the plank was too short to reach the cub. Ethan knew that the slightest mistake could cost them everything. The lion cub was slipping, and time was running out. He leaned further, stretching his body over the edge. Every second felt like an eternity as the mud pulled at his every movement. The lioness and the male lion watched closely, their eyes never leaving him. His heart raced as he reached for the cub. The suction of the mud was powerful, pulling him closer to danger. But he couldn't stop now, the cub needed him. He grabbed the cub by the scruff, his muscles straining under the pressure. The roar of the lions behind him filled the air, their fear palpable. He pulled with all his might, the thick mud resisting every inch. With a final tug, the cub was free from the pit. Ethan quickly retreated, placing the cub on solid ground. He watched as it gasped for breath, weak but alive. The moment of danger was over, but the emotional weight remained. The lioness rushed forward, checking her cub, nudging it gently. The male lion stood nearby, watching cautiously. They didn't attack Ethan, instead, they showed gratitude. Ethan stood still, waiting for their reaction, hoping for peace. The lioness made a low, relieved sound as she licked the cub. The male lion's breathing slowed, the tension easing in his massive body. They were no longer a threat, but grateful parents. Ethan was still, knowing that the hardest part was over. Ethan stood back, exhausted, letting the lions have their moment. He knew his part in the rescue was over. This was their time to reunite and heal. He quietly observed, knowing this was something extraordinary. The lion cub lay on the grass, its fur slick with mud but alive. The lioness licked it, cleaning away the dirt and debris. Ethan watched from a safe distance, his role in the rescue now complete. The cub was weak but alive, and that was all that mattered. The lions were no longer aggressive, they simply wanted their cub safe. It was a raw, emotional moment that transcended the predator-prey dynamic. Ethan realized he had witnessed something extraordinary. This wasn't just about saving a life, it was about connection. The lioness and the male lion shared a quiet moment with their cub. Their bond was evident, a bond that went beyond survival. Ethan felt privileged to have been part of it. He had risked everything for this moment. The lions were no longer trapped in their fear, but united in their relief. The cub was alive, and their family was whole again. Ethan understood that sometimes, survival requires trust, even with humans. This moment was one of grace, transcending the natural order. As the lions moved away, the cub clinging to its mother's side, Ethan watched in silence. This was more than just a rescue, it was a testament to compassion. For a brief moment, they shared something beyond survival. The lions moved off into the grass, their bodies fading into the savanna. Ethan sat down on the embankment, overwhelmed with emotion. He had just witnessed a powerful moment of connection between species. It was a reminder that sometimes, animals are not so different from us. This rescue would be the most unforgettable of his career. It wasn't about strength, but trust and empathy. The savanna had once again shown him that even in the wild, kindness and survival go hand in hand. Ethan knew that this moment would stay with him forever.